الو دكتور احمد.
اهلا وسهلا.
اهلا بيك. انا شريف.
اهلا وسهلا شريف، اخبارك ايه؟
الحمد لله. احنا قدامنا ان شاء الله ممكن 5 دقائق از ماكسيمم.
ان شاء الله.
يكون اكتمل بس العدد وان شاء الله نبدا باذن الله.
ماشي. انا هعمل ميوت لغايه ما نبتدي ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله. ميرسي لحضرتك، شكرا.
الو. اوكي. اوكي ان شاء الله هنبتدي دلوقتي ان شاء الله. I need... Let me know if you can see the screen. Just confirm that you can see the screen. شريف
Yes,
واضحه اوكي.
yes, we can see the screen. We need other people to confirm also that they can see your screen.
Okay, that's good. I
Yes.
have few confirmation coming here. Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. I'm going to clean the screen a little bit now from all the blocks you have them there, the dots and things. And by the way, I cannot see the chat. So if you have any questions, please just wait until the end of the presentation. I'll be more than happy to answer all the questions. Okay, let me just clear this. Okay, now it's way better. Okay, good. Okay, so welcome everyone. to this presentation about the impact of the COVID-19 on blockchain technologies and vice versa. What I'm going to go through is I'm going to go through some of the concept about blockchain first, and then we can dive into the blockchain plus the COVID-19. A little bit background about myself. I teach at Stanford University in San Jose State. I'm a technical advisor for some startups here in the Silicon Valley, lived and in California for many, many years. This is some information about my academic background. One of the things that I'm doing beside teaching and advising the companies is meeting with the media and explain some of the technology to them. For example, all the big names you see them, the NBC, Fox, CBS, and ABC. I have a lot of appearances with them talking about the new technologies like cybersecurity, AI, blockchain, and so on. Spanish media, also one of them, the Chinese American media, and the public, the radio and TV, also part of that one. BBC, also another one, and the last one was the CNN. I have published 2 books. One of them is the Secure and Smart Internet of Things using blockchain and artificial intelligence used. They're actually, the book is on the shelves of famous universities from Harvard to Stanford to Berkeley to Princeton. And lately I received a letter from Yale. They said they will have it on the shelves. And also the Library of Congress added it to their collection. Last year, the book received the annual author and artist award from San Jose State. The new book is coming out in June. Finished it. It's specifically dealing with blockchain technologies and application. When I started writing this book, no COVID-19, no coronavirus. Once I finish it, I have to go back and add something about blockchain and the coronavirus to the book. Okay, very quickly, just to explain to you where we are standing when it comes to the blockchain. Blockchain is one of the 4 technologies that I think and I believe that they're going to shape the world and of technology in the coming years. I call them the IBAC, which is the Internet of Things, blockchain technologies, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. The focus today is on the blockchain, but there is something else also added to the mix lately, which is quantum computing. So quantum computing will have an impact on all the 4 we mentioned here. One of the things that you will make it easy for you to remember the IBAC, IoT, blockchain, AI, and cybersecurity is IoT feels, blockchain remembers, AI thinks, cybersecurity protects. So relating to this one to the human feelings and action and reactions. The internet is all about connectivity. Blockchain is all about trust. So if you keep this in mind, it's easy for you to understand why we introduce the blockchain in this concept, especially in some kind of pandemic like what we have here, not only in the United States, the whole world. In 2020, LinkedIn, excuse me, did a study, and they very quickly they found out that the top 10 hard skills companies are looking for is actually blockchain. It is before cloud computing. It is before AI. It is before UX design. It is blockchain. So blockchain is number 1 when it comes to the top hard skills needed by the companies when they post about jobs on LinkedIn. So that's a good sign. That's mean the companies are finally waking up to the significance of the blockchain. But what is blockchain? Blockchain, technically speaking, is a software, and I know that Sharif already explained to you the foundation of blockchain, but look at it from a different perspective here. The best definition of blockchain is 2 words. The first one is cryptography and human logic. This is given by a professor from MIT. Cryptography is the credentials we are using every day, username, password. Human logic is the consensus. And if you want to go deep into the building blocks of the blockchain, you're going to see it is the cryptography, the encryption, peer-to-peer consensus mechanism like proof of work, proof of stake, for example, ledger, and the validity rules like the smart contracts. So those are the 5 building blocks of the blockchain. In 2020, the focus on blockchain shifted from explain this to me to prove it to me. So you're going to see that a lot of companies that are moving from the facts of I would like to know what is this to how can I use it, which technically speaking, talking about pilot programs. Application for blockchain are really a lot. I teach blockchain at Stanford and at San Jose State, and one of the things that we do there is finding applications for blockchain in every single industry we're dealing with. And this is just an example of this, of some of the applications. And those are categories. For example, we talk about the digital identity. There's so many things under that. If you're talking about something like the digital trading, the proof of ownership, the patient record management, there's a lot of things can come under this application. The blockchain history is not new. It's just separated, or the components of the blockchain itself sitting there for years. And then we have something, in 2009 where Satoshi Nakamoto published his paper at the heels of the financial, crash or financial problem we have in 2008, 2009, and that's where everybody start looking at the Bitcoin, leading to the blockchain technology. Um, Before we jump into the applications very quickly, keep in mind that the blockchain cases are actually divided into two parts, two fundamental categories: record keeping or transaction, passive or active. So when you talk about record keeping cases include, safeguarding the data, keeping it, nobody can change it. Transaction is an active one, which is near real time digital payment, exchange of assets. So whether you want to use it for your business, you have to understand that under which technology or which category you're going to use the blockchain. This is a nice presentation of the Forbes 50 blockchain. It's hitting all the categories, and you can recognize and see that's a lot of big companies here in the categories, from the payments to the capital market, supply chain, trading, and some of them exist in multiple categories because they see and they understand. For example, if you look at BMW and how many categories the BMW are in, from transportation to identity to the supply chain. If you look at companies like Google or companies like Microsoft, and they will see that they exist in multiple categories or multiple industries. Business cases. Before we jump into the COVID-19 specific case of using blockchain, one of the examples that I always give in my presentations is the MIT digital degree, and it's not limited to the MIT. It's honestly goes with other universities. They will give you the paper degree. At the top of that one, they will give you a digital degree. And this digital degree is verified through their blockchain, where the employers who would like to hire you will join that private blockchain. And they can, you go to an interview, they scan the bar, the QR, and they get the degree. You don't have to go and request transcript or request copy for your degree. And it is definitely saved, and nobody can change it. Another one is the giant, the retail giant Walmart is in 2019 they told all the vendors that you cannot do business with us unless you are part of the blockchain, which is under IBM. IBM has a huge share in the market under the Hyperledger technology. It's a different technology of blockchain compared to the Ethereum and compared to the Bitcoin technology, but they have their own network, something called IBM Food Trust. The IBM Food Trust is a way for them to track all the all the food from from the farm to the fork. So they will know exactly if there is any kind of problems, poison, contamination of the food. They can pinpoint which farm this one came from. Instead of shutting down the whole supply chain, like what we're doing now, they just say, okay, this came from this farm, so they can trace it down to that farm and shut it down. Supply chain is one of the most beneficial industries of the blockchain, because at every single point of transaction or transformation or transportation, you're going to find that documentations, whether it is done by human or done by machine, will be documented on the blockchain and nobody can change it. So when you get to the end of the, of the supply chain, they can look at this one and see what happened. For example, if there are sensor for temperature because you are sending food that's temperature sensitive, or there is product that go by the weight, so they can weigh that one, and that weight will be transmitted to the blockchain and nobody can change it. So if there is a change in the way, they know that something is missing between this point and that point. Companies like DocuSign, which is a very popular company here in the Silicon Valley for electronically signing the documents. Most of the companies now are switching to this. Instead of emailing the document to you or mail it to you, you sign it, you send it back, you can just electronically sign it using the blockchain to make sure nobody can change the document after you signed it. Starbucks has two ways of using blockchain. They have the payment, which is the bucket, and also they're using the supply chain to trace down the product all the way to the farms. And Ticketmaster is also one of the users for the blockchain technology to fight fraud, so nobody can sell the ticket twice or make fake tickets. The real estate in the United States, I mean, not talking about these days because everything is actually shut down these days. In average, the homeowners sell his or her home every 5 to 7 years. So the American, they moved an average of 12 times during their lifetime. So that's important. Why that's important? Because instead of going through the same documentation, if you want to buy a house here, it's a hassle. You have hundreds and hundreds of pages you have to sign, you have to initialize, keep it in a place. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to fill the forms again. You just add the new information and you're done with it. That's gonna shorten the time for you to close the deal. There's a lot of money involved in the real estate for the escrow, for the for the agents, and for the seller and the buyer, the banks. So this will make it much easier for the transactions of the real estate. Okay, now, so given that I paved the way for looking at the blockchain technology as something that can touch every single corner of our lives. Let's look at the blockchain and COVID-19. Now, COVID-19, or that's the technical name for the medical name for the virus, and that one is actually came from this. COVID-19 is one the WHO, or the World Health Organization, named that one. So Corona for the CEO, and it's a virus, it's a disease, and it is really discovered in 2019, and that's the reason for us to name this one as COVID-19. And this is why they prefer you to refer to that one in the media instead of saying coronavirus or something else. A big impact, whether it is in Egypt or it is in among China, they're recovering from that. But in other parts of the world, in the United States, we have a tremendous challenges here. I'm here in California. This is our second month that we cannot go back to work. We do everything using Zoom, and it's not fun. It's not really something you want to do for a long time. And we cannot leave to to work. We can go to certain places, and we have to follow a very strict rules of mask, and you have to have a certain distance between you and between the person next to you. So it's for many people, for 40 million people living in California, it's not a comfortable way of living, but that's the price you have to pay to stay safe. So the COVID-19 has an impact on your life, and impact on your work and your school and everything. And this is not to mention that we have about 75,000 people died from COVID-19 as of today. As of today, 75,000 died from that disease. The government are scrambling to address the problem. Different solution based on the blockchain technology have been sprung to them, trying to help them. And I'm going to share with you one solution that adopted by the World Health Organization, and with the help of companies like IBM and Microsoft and Oracle at the end of the presentation. A blockchain, as we know, is an essential tool to establish an efficient and transparent healthcare business model based on a high degree of accuracy and trust. The technology itself is tamper-proof for public ledger, so whatever information you have there, it cannot be changed. But I don't want you to be under this illusion that this blockchain will solve the problem of the virus. The blockchain will help, but it's not gonna cure the virus at all. It's a technology that will assist of dealing with it. It's gonna help in making sure that we are really ready. So this will create the first line of rapid protection through the network, because knowledge, if you have the knowledge, is power. The faster you know about it, the more accurate the information, the more accurate the data coming to you, the faster you can take actions by, for example, ban the travel, by quarantine, certain places. Instead of have a blanket actions, you can pinpoint where are those patients or the clusters of the COVID-19 to deal with them. And this is what happened with countries like South Korea. This is exactly what they have done. Therefore, the use of blockchain-enabled platform can help prevent the pandemics by enabling early detection, fast tracking, of the drug trials, impact of management of outbreaks and treatment. You don't want to be in the mix of every county, every state, every province will be doing their own business without knowing. I'll give you an example. Today, the state of Georgia, they relaxed their rules by opening the restaurant and opening different places. And the states around them, they're still under the shelter in place. They're closed. So 65,000 people every day will go to Georgia just to go to the restaurant and go to other activities. That's not going to help, because what you're doing is you're taking, you're not coordinating these kind of crisis management. Um, let's talk about this COVID-19, why it is different. And I'm not, I'm not claiming any medical credentials here, but generally speaking about why this disease or why this virus is deadly. There is a lot of things. Well, one major issue is how, one of the challenges that facing uh, the COVID-19 or dealing with COVID-19 is how prepared the World Health System are to respond to the outbreak. Just exposed the healthcare system completely, tracking a huge population of infectious patients to stop the epidemics. That's another thing. That's how many people had it, and how can we track that? There's a technique used here in the United States called the 3T, which is test, trace, and treat. So you have to apply the whole cycle so you can minimize the spread of the disease. So people who are healthy, people who are not not infected by this one can go to work, but you have to isolate the certain group that have this. Another is the immediate requirement for developing better diagnostic vaccines and targeted therapeutics. All of these things are the problem that COVID-19 exposed to us. Misinformation, big thing. Conspiracy theory is ravaging through the social media. Here people are talking about some funny things. How can you deal with the COVID-19 by taking certain certain actions, drinking this, doing this. Another thing is that the conspiracy theory about this is a biological weapon. This is created by by human, and it is, and all these things. Until you have a proof for this, until it's clear, this is not going to help. And here in the United States, we have some people went to the emergencies because they just listened to somebody in the higher places talking about use this kind of treatment, and they used it and they got sick. Various limitations while accessing the tools when required, that's another part, and no adequate measure to adopt the crisis management. So this is all the challenges that the COVID-19 presented to us when we are dealing with this deadly virus. Can blockchain help in preventing the pandemics? Now, the answer for this one is yes, but you have to give some qualifications for your answer. With blockchain, you can share any transaction information real time between relevant parties, present as node in the chain in a secure and immutable fashion. Translation, hospitals, clinics, there could be the nodes for this information where they can feed into a blockchain network, and this blockchain where they can change that information. So governments, agencies, political parties cannot play with that, cannot modify this information or hide that information. Because if they hide it from part of the blockchain, it's actually on a different part, so people can access it. In this case, had there been a blockchain where the World Health Organization, the health ministries of each country, and maybe even the relevant hospitals of each country were connected, sharing real-time information, like what happened in China when we have this disease started, in September, and there's or October, and we've seen, a different result about this. Then you have month and month for yourself to prepare for that. About any new communicable disease, then the world might be awakening up much earlier instead of being behind the curve, and the virus is defining the path for us. Will be ahead of the curve, because again, information, right information, immutable information is power. Nobody can change it. It's coming from different parts of the world, so you understand that there's no bias in this one, because each hospital is reporting whatever they are seeing. We might have seen a travel restrictions given sooner, quarantining policies set sooner, and social distancing implementing faster. And may fewer countries have to go through this impact, instead of just waiting when it will be the next hotspot. Whatever countries is doing now is fighting this pandemic would have been restricted to fewer countries. The usage of a blockchain to share information early might even save some lives and some of the pain that we are going through, because you know what's going on and you know exactly which part of the world is having. We have similar situation on the case of Ebola. We have where the countries sprung into action very quickly, and they contain it in a certain places, so it's not going to spread outside the places. The world had not seen anything like the COVID-19 pandemic before in the recent early. The only one was in 1918. That's the nearest one we have seen, more than 100 years ago. Today, we need to take a hard look at the reporting infrastructure for a communicable diseases, both technology and regulation, and improve this kind of infrastructure. We don't need to face another pandemic in the future. So we got a problem with communication, and communication means information. We don't have that structure for this one. We rely heavily on centralized organizations that will inform us if something happened. It might be too late for that for us and for the organization. Now, how can the blockchain help the COVID-19 efforts? 4 areas. Number one is tracking infectious disease outbreaks, donation tracking, the crisis management, and securing medical supply chains. Those are the 4 areas that you find yourself dealing with when you are looking, of a combination of using the blockchain and the COVID-19. And I'm going to go over all of them one by one to explain to you guys and ladies about what each one of them means. The tracking the infectious disease outbreak. Blockchain can be used for tracking the public health data surveillance, particularly for the infectious disease outbreaks, such as the case we have with COVID-19. The increase of use in blockchain transparency, it will result in more accurate reporting and efficient response. So this is actually the thesis statement for using it. And to add to this efforts about tracking in infectious disease and outbreaks, and Google and Apple, they have a very rare, partnership to create an app. Well, they're not going to create an app, they're going to create an API, which is a framework so people can create apps at the top of it. And for the first time, Apple and Google, they are competing on every single, level of their business. The reason for them to get together here is because they have a total number of users or customers of 3 billion. So you're talking about almost 50% of the people living on this planet. So the whole idea of this one is to give you a sense of, if you install this app, which is at the top of the framework of developed by Apple and Google, and you are outside, and somebody who have that disease already register with the agency, with the health agency, through the Bluetooth technology, they will tell you that in the past 2 days you've been exposed. you came too close to somebody who has this disease, go and check yourself. And without revealing who this person and what location, because they don't want to create some kind of social, revolt against that. So this is the whole idea of the, contact tracing technologies. You hear about them in the media. UK have their own app, France have their own app, Hong Kong, South Korea, all of those countries, they have their own app, which will tell you if you came in contact with somebody within a certain distance. And the Bluetooth is to control the distance, because you have to be about 2 meters or 6 feet away from that person. This information has to be saved somewhere. This information about the people who will go and test themselves and found that they are positive, they have to be, saved somewhere and shared by all the nodes. And the blockchain can help with this situation. It's not going to help with the app. The app is used for a certain purpose, contact, tracing, purpose. But the database itself and the availability and the, the immutability of the data will be protected by the blockchain. Blockchain can help develop treatment swiftly, as they would allow to rapid processing of the data, which is available now for people from all over the world, enabling early detection of symptoms before they spread to the level of the epidemics. Additionally, this will enable government and agency to keep track of the virus activities, patients, and suspected new cases, and more. So that will, the information you get there will help you track, will help you predict, will help you at the same time develop the vaccines, because you have this data available. You're not waiting for this data to come from a different place. I remember some cases here in the United States where if you want to report this one to the CDC, which is the Central of Disease Control in the United States, it's similar to the Ministry of Health in many countries, you have to send it by mail. You have to Federal Express this one, or even accept this one by email, because they need signature and you need all these kind of things. And that delayed a lot of analysis of where are the hot spots in the United States. Especially the whole thing started with the state of Washington, and then it jumped all the way to New York. Donation tracking in the middle of, or in the midst of this one, of this kind of pandemic and hard times, a lot of people want to donate. A lot of people feel obligated that how can I help? So and this will be an opening for for cyber criminals, for fraud, for so many people who will take advantage of that. I finished an interview with one of the local newspaper talking about something like this. How this kind of this kind of donations, or the feeling that people have about how can I help other people? I'm healthy, I'm sitting home, but I'm not sure that my donation will go to the right place. So the criminal, what they have done, they use the phishing emails, where they send you an email about anything related to COVID-19. They will send you an email from the World Health Organization, donate, click on this link and give us the information. They will actually exploit every single good, feeling you have and the goodness in your heart to take that money and to fool you for this. Or to sell, or they tell you, listen, if you donate for this research, this is what's going to happen. At the top of this one, they will tell you that we have a home test kit. You can send it to you, just send it this money. And I've seen those emails. It is ridiculous, when it comes to this kind of of taking advantage of the tragedies of the world. Trust is one of the major issues in donation. Blockchain has a solution, and this is why I started the presentation by saying internet is for connectivity, blockchain for trust. There has been a concern that millions of dollars being donated for the public are not being put where it's needed. And this has been an old ancient problem with donation. People look at it and say there is a percentage for management. What is that percentage? Where this going? How that done? And all these things. The blockchain will give you all this information. You have access to it. You can look at where is the money went, and then you can make your decision about whether you want to donate or you want to donate more. With the help of blockchain capabilities, donors can see where the funds are mostly urgently required, because again, you have this information coming from different hospitals, health ministries, CDCs, all these centers, and you know that where which area needs that part. And that is the same thing goes with, we have the same situation with New York State, where it is the epic center or the hotspot for the COVID-19 for the past, for the past month, and they suffered a lot. So people want to donate so many money, mask, you name it. They would like to make sure that it's getting there. Mostly urgently required, and track their donation until they are provided with a verification that their contribution have been received to the victims. Uh, I can hear a microphone in the background, Sharif. Somebody's microphone is on. Okay, blockchain would enable transparency for the general public to understand how their donations are being used. Okay, let me, okay, good. Okay, so let me just fix this. Just 1 minute, please. Okay, okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so we're back again. Okay, good. Crisis management. Crisis management related to an action due to certain conditions. And smart contract, which is a very well-known concept or very well-known part of the blockchain, especially if you're using the Ethereum platform, can help with that. Blockchain also can manage crisis situation. It could, instantly alert the public about the coronavirus by global institutions like the World Health Organization using a smart contract. Instead of waiting for them to analyze it, instead of waiting them to get a certain number, it's going to hit that thresholds. We set up with a smart contract with the agreement of everybody, and the minute the threshold is there, and an alert sent to everybody saying, "Be careful. We have a situation in that country, and that could impact you." And this is one of the things that the blockchain can do this, and based on the information it collected in the blockchain, the smart contract can triggered by a certain level of information, percentage, number of cases, proximity of the cases, and send an alert to everybody telling them, watch out, something bad is going to happen. Not only it can alert, but blockchain also can provide government with recommendations. That's going to be the next level that we can have this one as part of the smart contract. And smart contract, again, it's a software. So you can have all these kind of conditions that if this happened, this is the recommendation to do it. So how to contain the virus, ban the travel, quarantine this, enable the contact tracing apps. All of these things will be part of it. It could offer a secure platform where all the concerning authorities, such as government, medical professionals, media, health organization, media, and others can update each other about the situation and prevent it from getting worse. Secure medical supply chain. Big problem here in the United States because there is some issues going about who can negotiate to the medical supply, the state or the federal government. So how can we really make sure that the supply chain, which is one of the most used industry by the blockchain experts, blockchain has already proven its success stories in blockchain for so many things. Whether it is medications, transportations, food industry, we have a story, we have a track record of that. So it's not something new for us. It's just instead of sending food, you're going to talk now about medical supplies. And the minute we have this medical supply shortage all over the world now, the whole thing just collapsed. And everybody is trying to bid for a higher price. Everybody trying to make bucks right and left. There are so many stories about it here in the state and outside the United States that telling you that because we don't have it organized, it was something like eBay, something like the higher bidder in this in this business. Blockchain could also be beneficial in tracking and tracing the medical supply chain. Cases here in California, this $69 million given to a person who said that they have the N95 mask and he doesn't have a single one of them. He was lying to the government because somebody recommended him from. Then he, of course, they get the money back and they are tracking that person and that person is already in jail. Blockchain-based platforms can be usable in reviewing, recording, and tracking of demand, supplies, logistics of epidemic prevention materials. How many we have? Nobody can change them. Somebody went to the warehouse and took, 200,000 masks, 200,000 PPEs, and we will know about it. It's going to be updated. A famous case here in California, with the state of California thought they have something like 100 million, masks. They couldn't find them. They have it on paper, but it's not there. There's no way for you to track that. So this is not going to happen on blockchain, because every single one of them, if they left the warehouse, there is a record, there is a tracking for that. A supply chain involved multiple parties. The entire process of record and verification is tamper-proof by every party, while also allowing anyone to track the process. So the supplier, the government, the hospitals, everybody can track that. You have this dashboard. You can see exactly where it is, that supply, how many do you have of each one of them. The technology could also help in streamlining the medical supply chain. Doctors and patients have access to the tools whenever they need them, and the restraining the contamination of the items from reaching stores. You can do this one by checking the different sensing information, temperature, quality. All of these things will be part of the information fed into the blockchain. Applications of this. The application of this one is a well-known project called MEPASA. MEPASA is a project. It's a nonprofit, organization that's bringing together so many people from the government side and from the industry side. So the World Health Organization is working with blockchain and other tech companies on a program to help convey data about the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and this is called MyPass. So this is the website for that one. And I'm not going to go through the details of the website, but you are more than welcome to Google this. You're going to find tons of information about it. What is it? How can I help? Data warriors, basically, they're asking for hospital to provide this data so they can store it on the blockchain to have it available. And IBM is leading the way when it comes to this project, and it is promising. And the program is a distributed ledger technology blockchain that will hopefully help with early detection of the virus and identify the carriers and the hotspots. So this is the purpose of the program. This is why they created that program. The project itself is built at the top of Hyperledger Fabric, the blockchain technology used by IBM, with IBM as part of it, and Oracle for the database. And there is the enterprise blockchain platform, the Hasera, and IT corporation Microsoft. So you're talking about big names getting together to help with this project. It's a private blockchain, which means limited number of nodes. It's not like Bitcoin, anybody can join it. They have to identify you, they have to approve you, you can join it, and share information between need-to-know organizations like state authorities and health officials because of the privacy of the information of the patients. The creator of this program, this is how they describe it. They describe it as an information highway. The project is a cross-reference, siloed location data with health information. It promises to protect patient privacy because you have some companies or some countries from Europe and from the United States, and the privacy of the patients are really something that there is a very strict rules for that. GDPR for Europe, and for the United States is HIPAA, which is something protect the information of the patient. You cannot share it. You cannot have copies of it unless you're authorized to do that. To help monitor local and global trends such as the virus that has now sent the world spiraling into chaos and uncertain times. The US, Europe, European countries, Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Hong Kong Department of Health, Government of Canada, and China National Health Commission have all worked with the project. So this one is an international project, and it's open. You know, any country would like to join that one, they can join it. Any organization that has to do with healthcare, they can join that one to help. The World Health Organization is really looking forward to build this project or this program so they can deal with the future pandemic instead of being surprised or caught off guard like what happened with COVID-19. Okay, I'm done with my presentation. This is my data, my information, my contact. If you have any question, I'm going to switch away from the sharing the screen, but I'll give you a few seconds to take a screenshot or write down the contact. You're more than welcome to join me on LinkedIn. You can email me at my email, or you can follow me at Twitter, and be more than happy to answer any questions. Okay, let me stop the sharing. And, okay, and what I'm going to just open the chat. Okay, Sharif, you can take over.
Yes, I'm checking it now. I think that the first question is regarding to sharing the presentation.
Okay, I will have a PDF. I'll send it to you, and then you can send it to whoever you want.
Okay, it's okay. Many thanks. I will share with you today, inshallah, after receiving it from Dr. Ahmed. I will share it to all the participants through email. Okay.
Good.
Do we have any other questions? Let me.
You can type it on the chat if they want to.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Ahmed.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, this is Muhammad Usman from Sudan, blockchain community. So my question here is, first, thank you for the informative presentation. So as we can see, there are many initiatives and projects going on around the world, you know, for fighting COVID, or at least for the future, you know, incidents. So how do you see the interoperability issue? So how all these platforms can talk to each other? Like if we say that each initiative or system based on a different platform from the other. So how this can be fixed or?
Okay. Any other questions? Because I can answer one by one, or I can just have the questions and answer them all at once. To answer your question here about how the different platforms can talk to each other is the starting point. One of the problems of the blockchain is if you go in with Ethereum, you are with Ethereum. If you go in with Hyperledger, you go in with Hyperledger. The cross-platform here is a challenge that facing these kind of initiatives. By the end of the day, managing them has to be done with some kind of an international organization. Something like the IEEE / blockchain, or some kind of organization that deals with and that is part of how to deal with with that part. We are still at the early stages of the blockchain. We have a way to go with that until we have one platform, universal platform. That's going to be years to come. I have a question here on the chat.
Yes, regarding to the currency. Did you get it, Dr. Ahmed?
I have something here talking about from Venezuela. It's from Yasmin. Not COVID related, but some state may digitize their currency. China, now government of Venezuela. Do you think we live in a world where our state issues urges to digitize into the blockchain as the norm, and so, or what will the threatening to the stable coin we have? Okay, that's a good question. It's not related to the COVID-19, but the digital money is the future, and there's no way for us to stop it. It's not going to replace the dollar. It's not going to replace the pound. It's not going to replace. It's going to be another stream, another way for people to send and receive money. The main concern with the cryptocurrency is the AML, anti-money laundering, and know your client, which is another problem. Facebook is trying to do this, exactly what you're talking about, which is having some kind of a digital money people can use all over the world. They are being pushed back heavily because people worried about people using this digital money away from the central bank. The central bank is out of the loop once we have the digital money. Until we find a middle ground where the government will be happy and the private companies can use this one and the private citizen can this one, we're going to still fight this, but it's not disappearing. 5 years from now, you're going to find that the countries issue their own digital currency. Venezuela is an example of this one. China is having their own, and other countries have their own way of doing it. Okay, so that's one part of it. So I have a question here. For extracting data from the external source, like we have Oracle, in your opinion, what is the most recommended way to extract data from external sources, knowing we have Oracle problem? Yes, I mean, Oracle, we're not talking about the database company. We are talking about a certain technique used by the blockchain to extract information from outside and get it into the blockchain. For now, Oracle is the available platform for us to get this information without modifying the nature of immutable database or immutable blockchain. But for now, this is the solution we have. And just to add to what Raneem is talking about, it's blockchain is still at the beginning. There is so many problems, and each problem is an idea for a startup. And I'll give you an example of this one. I was giving a presentation, at a local university here, and I talk about zero knowledge protocol used in the blockchain. I was talking about Cosmos, which is the blockchain of blockchains. I was talking about sharding, which is a technique in databases where you can scale up the blockchain. And those are solutions for existing problem we have in the blockchain. One of them is the problem of how can I get this information from outside if I need it, which is the Oracle is one solution for that. Any other questions?
Guys, if you have any question, please type it through chat.
No problem. Okay, let me have my email too on the chat, just in case people need to contact me in the future. It is ahmed.banafa@sksu.edu. You're welcome, Fadi. Thank you. Okay, if there is no question, then Sharif, you wanna take over?
Yes. Do you have any other question, ladies and gentlemen? Because I see that maybe we almost answered all the questions that we have here. Okay. Once I get the presentation from Dr. Ahmed, I will share it with you through email. Many thanks, Dr. Ahmed, for your time. Ramadan Kareem for you and your family. Thanks a lot, guys, and looking forward to see you in the other sessions, inshallah, in the next days. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.